Coming up, students are applying to and entering college, but are they finishing their programs and graduating on time? We'll explore the national issue of college completion. Plus, earn your associate degree and then your bachelor's. How Prince George's Community College helps graduates successfully transfer to four-year institutions. Next on Around Prince George's.
Welcome to this edition of Around Prince George's. I'm Charlene Dukes, president of Prince George's Community College. Why do so many students start college but never finish? It's a growing problem across the United States for millions of people.
A high school diploma is no longer enough. To compete in today's knowledge-based global economy, employers need workers with post-secondary education and/or training. But on campuses across the country, students are dropping out of college or taking longer to complete their degrees. According to researchers at Georgetown University, by 2018, America will be short 3 million college graduates if rates remain at current levels. It's a problem not only for students, but our national economy. It reinforces the mandate from President Obama, who challenged the nation to have the world's highest proportion of people with college credentials by 2020. Prince George's Community College has responded to this call to action by implementing strategies to help increase the number of students who complete their degrees, certificates, and other credentials.
On a previous episode of Around Prince George's, I sat down with Dr. Walter Bumphus, President and CEO of the American Association of Community Colleges, and Dr. Carole Geary Schneider, President of the Association of American Colleges and Universities, to talk about college readiness and completion. We covered a lot of ground. Here's part 2 of that discussion. So let's turn our conversation from college readiness to college completion. Walter, let's talk a little bit about the college completion agenda. Tell us a little bit about what that is.
The completion agenda for community colleges really got launched when President Obama challenged higher education to have more college graduates and completers. In community colleges, that meant 5 million more completers by 2020. And that, coupled with the fact that as community college leaders, we looked at where we were in regards to our low completion rates and thought we needed to do a better job. So as a sector, we came together to look at how might we impact increasing graduation rates while maintaining access. Access has been so very important to community colleges. In fact, it's been the hallmark of our mission for over 100 years, and we've done it well. We've done it very well. The hard work now becomes how do we continue to maintain that access while having more students complete and maintaining, eradicating attainment gaps for minorities, women, and people of color. And we're doing that well now. But it's hard work. It's some of the hardest work I think we've ever undertaken. But it's the right work. It's the right agenda, and I do believe we're making progress. When you look at many of our community colleges, we unfortunately had been judged by one measuring stick, and we were judged by the same measuring stick, for instance, at the University of Maryland and Prince George's Community College. I think there's no problem with being evaluated and being accountable, but just by the right measures. And so what we've tried to do in community colleges is take a look and consider the full range of things we're asking our community colleges to do. Transfer students, put them into the world of work, and really try to assess all of that. And I think we're doing a good job with that at this point.
And you know, I think, Carole, given your work with the American Association of Colleges and Universities, you have the opportunity, if I can say it this way, to straddle both worlds. You think about the 2-year sector, you think about the 4-year sector, and then all of the Carnegie classifications, Research 1, doctoral granting institutions, associate degree institutions. What's your perspective on this whole thing called college completion and the charge that we have from President Obama and his administration?
Well, Walter is focused on the issues in community colleges, but as you're strongly hinting in your question, it's not just an issue for the 2-year colleges. Across all sectors of higher education, 2-year, 4-year, public and private, we have large numbers of students who start and never finish, or start and take 10 or 12 years to finish, which is costly for them and a loss to the society. Again, we have to have the big picture on things. Why is it that more people are going to college? Why is it that we have this as a national priority, higher levels of college completion? The fact of the matter is that 2 out of every 3 jobs in the economy is now requiring some degree. It could be a 2-year institution, a degree, a certificate, but some form of post-secondary learning. And more, the goals are going up for what students really need to know to succeed in their careers. But internationally, we're falling behind. So just as the economy is demanding more, the United States has lost its position in the world as the nation that used to have the highest percentage of citizens with degrees. Now we have fallen to 15th or 16th in the world when it comes to the younger people. And in fact, there's new data showing that the rates of college completion for students 25 to 33 are lower than for graduates, citizens aged 35 to 45. So we are actually losing ground. It's an urgent priority, and a huge amount of work is going into trying to figure out how to fix this problem.
The fact that we're losing ground is so apparent on our college campuses. We look at the fact that we're serving a large number of students, even coming back for retraining or retooling, who are in that 34 to and higher age range. There's no question about that. We also see that students don't necessarily see the connections between getting a college degree and how that translates into potentially a better quality of life. So, I think about the challenges that students face in completing their degree. I think about the fact that on many college campuses, at least 60–70% of students are working maybe a minimum of 20 hours a week, and they're trying to balance that whole notion of how many hours I spend in the classroom vis-a-vis how many hours do I need to spend outside of the classroom studying that subject. We think about civic engagement, which is really a hallmark of AAC&U. And I think, how do we put all of this together for students so they understand what employers are looking for? We understand that it's a college education. It's also about the civic engagement, giving back to your communities, being good, productive citizens, and then tie all that together with college completion.
Right. Well, there's the things that colleges and community colleges can do themselves. And then there's areas where public policy has to help. So let's just focus on the emerging body of research and evidence about what helps students increase their likelihood of completing once they enroll in college. And a big important piece of that is what you called earlier high touch. Creating a supportive community where a student feels like people know me, they care about what happens to me, they'll help me solve problems, I know where to go to ask for help. A whole set of safety net investments that I know Prince George's Community College has really led on to try to help students find the right pathway, stay with that pathway, be mentored, be supported, and move on either to transfer or to completing their degree, whichever makes the most sense for them. These are the things we can fix ourselves. But what we can't miss is that about 2 decades ago, there was a public policy decision to shift the cost of paying for college to students. That's why they're all working night and day to try to get themselves through school, because public investment in financial aid has disappeared. I think we're going to talk about that at another time, but I think your listeners need to know that we should be pressing the people who make public policy decisions to reinvest in support that students need to pay for the education, even as colleges and universities and community colleges try to put in place more effective pathways to help students get the kind of learning they need.
And I think that your comment is so important, because when we think about college affordability, which we'll talk about in a moment, we also think about new policies that have come out from the Department of Education that really begin to streamline the number of terms that a student can use Pell Grants for instance, if they are determined to be need eligible for Pell Grants. We also look at the fact that discretionary dollars on college campuses are disappearing. And when you think about high touch, then you're also thinking about making sure that there are people to provide those wraparound services that students need to occur outside of the classroom and that learning environment. So I think that it is, this conversation is really important, and it's one for us that we think serves to really give our viewers a real sense of what it means to go to college, what it means to be college ready, and then what it means to be able to stay in college and complete. That's really what's important, that you're leaving with an associate's degree. I recall that I used to say to a friend of mine who would say, well, I didn't quite complete that degree, but I'm all but dissertation. And I said, but what you have to remember is what that means is that you have a master's degree. So you can't be all but associate degree. You have to have that associate's degree or that baccalaureate degree. So what we're going to do, because this dialogue is getting interesting, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with more on this discussion about college completion. And later, we're going to talk about how Prince George's Community College partners with four-year institutions to help students transfer. Thank you.
RBIs and 36 homers. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it deep back into the stands.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Prince George's Community College isn't just a place that offers more than 200 academic, workforce development, and continuing education programs. It's the first step toward the career of your dreams. It's a community of people who want you to succeed. It's where degrees are earned and potential is realized. Apply and register today. Call 301-336-6000. Prince George's Community College, transforming lives.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Get your GED Pep Talk and find free classes at yourged.org.
Let's continue our discussion of college completion. And Walter, we'll start with you because we know that all students are not full-time students. So let's talk about the population and the statuses of students as they're enrolled in college.
Thank you for asking that question, Charlene. What's so important when you start to think about this whole notion of college completion is that community colleges have a chance to really count all of their students. Unfortunately, in the past, what higher education has done, and it's been driven typically by a traditional model, is looking at all of the first-time, full-time students. And in community colleges, 60+% of our students are enrolled part-time. And so I think as we start to look at what happens to those students after they matriculate with us, if they transfer, how do we count them all? And so that's been a big emphasis and focus point for AACC, is we're trying to make sure that we count all of our students and really take into account the very valuable contributions our community colleges make to the transfer students. In the state of Texas in 2011, for instance, 78% of the students who graduated with a baccalaureate degree took 12 hours at a community college. But yet community colleges got no credit for those transfers. Not being defensive about it, just saying we just need to count them all. And unfortunately, in some universities, the university doesn't get credit for it, nor does the community college if they don't start at that university. So I think, in all fairness to everyone who's working very hard at this, we really need to look at a different system of accountability. Last point I would make, many students today, and I think wisely so, are starting to take college courses in high school. Early college, AP, and unfortunately, those students aren't counted either in some completion numbers. So I just think we have to do a better job of looking at the entire mix. Lastly, I would say that when you start to factor in what we call swirling now, those students who are taking courses at PG, University of Maryland, online, you got a much different student than the traditional student of 20 years ago.
It does seem as though sort of how we offer higher education is changing, and in many ways that's a great thing. It opens the door, I think, to large numbers of students. When you think about online education, you think about the ability to take college courses 7 days a week, almost 24 hours a day. And many college campuses, you know, we don't really have that traditional student who looks to come and stay on campus and be there for those 30 credits every year. Carole, just in your work, do you know if that same phenomena exists on four-year campuses where students are maybe starting full-time, but then maybe by their junior year or so, life happens to them as well, and they begin to look at full-time enrollment as, part-time enrollment as the way to go?
Right. Many students cut back from a full load to part-time loads, whether they're in two-year campuses or four-year campuses, and they do that because they're working. Because often they need to work 30 hours a week or even full-time jobs in order to find the money to go to school. So there's a huge disconnect between the national agenda of getting more students through college with degrees in a timely fashion and the pressure we put on them to find the money for it. But that said, even as we think about the accountability and how students pay for college, there's another issue that has been a high priority for my association as we have tried to respond to the changing patterns of how students go to college. So knowing, picking up on what Walter said before, that the great majority of students who actually finish a four-year degree attended more than one institution on their way to a degree, whether it was a two-year school or several four-year schools, they're attending more than one institution. We have really focused on trying to make sure that wherever a student enrolls and wherever she transfers to, she's going to find the same set of high expectations for what she needs to know and be able to do in order to leave college ready for careers, ready for citizenship, ready for global communication, and ready for their own lives. So we've worked with lots of institutions, and Prince George's Community College was a leader in this effort in identifying a set of outcomes that every student needs, whether he or she is starting at a two-year school, starting at a four-year school. There's a certain set of expectations for what they need to learn that life is holding in wait for them. And that's been our focus on defining the outcomes, the kinds of competencies, the areas of knowledge, but above all the experiences, the sort of opportunities to connect knowledge and skill and application through an internship, through research, through a capstone project, through service learning, all the ways in which students connect knowing and doing. And that turns out to be a predictor of higher levels of completion as well as higher levels of learning. So we've been learning a lot about how doubling down on quality can actually raise the numbers of students who are successfully completing college.
Well, that's interesting. Earlier today, I was in a discussion and we were talking about this whole focus now, not just on STEM, but on STEAM. You know, when you apply the arts as part of this whole science, technology, engineering, and mathematics focus that the United States has. Well, we're talking about getting more students through college. We're also talking about getting more students involved in the STEM arena. And we talked about the need for students to be both convergent thinkers as well as divergent thinkers, about the ability to work in teams and to be able to work in groups and do group projects and understand that everybody brings something to the table when you're doing that. And I always think about how do we do that in colleges and universities, and I think you brought that out so well, Carole, when you talk about internships and how we work with business and industry and providing students with experiences that really build on what the learning is that has occurred in the classroom. So I think all of that is really critically important. And what I would do is certainly want to thank you and Dr. Bumphus, Dr. Schneider, for being a part of this very important discussion on college completion. And we'll see you both again on future episodes of Around Prince George's as we discuss a variety of topics in higher education. We're going to take a short break again, but we want our audience to stay tuned to find out about transfer opportunities for students at Prince George's Community College.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to Energy Star light bulbs, and you'll realize just how much cash you are really burning through. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
Imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people unite. Unearth hidden passion. Come on, we'll have a good time. One book can be the first little thing that helps to change a life. Book people unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition. Well, I'm here in transfer day, so I have a bunch of colleges on my hands right now. College Park, I'm thinking of, Towson, and possibly California.
After Prince George's Community College, I'm thinking about going to the University of Maryland in Baltimore. I want to be a dentist, so I'm trying to get into the dental school.
I would like to transfer to Morgan State or Harvard or Yale, something like that.
My daughter has a wide choice of schools that she can apply to, and that the Prince George Community College has given her a taste of what to expect.
It's like a lot is going for me. I'm so ready to do out my career.
After the transfer day, I have a couple choices that are fighting their ways to the top. Wherever I go, I want to major in engineering, mechanical engineering to be specific. Maryland's program is very competitive, and I'm ready to get over there and start competing.
We just heard some of our students share their exciting plans for where they want to transfer and continue their education after they graduate. To tell us about transfer opportunities at Prince George's Community College, we have transfer manager Veronica Alford and one of our students, Adrienne Bird. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, Mrs. Alford, you've been here at the college for some time, and for us, quite frankly, you're our guru when it comes to students attending Prince George's Community College and then transferring on to four-year colleges and universities, not just in the state or the region, but across the country. So what do we mean by transfer opportunities? How does your office help students who really want to transfer?
Well, here at the community college, we offer the first 2 years of four-year college programs. So students can start at Prince George's Community College and then go on to four-year schools to receive their bachelor's degree. Sometimes students think that they have to go 4 more years at the four-year school, but they really don't. 2 years with us, 2 years with them is all they need. And they can go ahead and get that degree.
So in essence, they're really completing their freshman and sophomore years.
That is absolutely so. And then they would transfer to the four-year school to complete their junior and senior years.
So could you talk to us a little bit about what are the top transfer institutions for our students?
For our students, the top schools that they transfer to are University of Maryland, College Park, University of Maryland University College, and Bowie State University for state schools. We have quite a few who are interested also in programs at Howard University and UMBC, which is another state school. So those are our 5 top schools.
And when we talk about what your office does, the Office of Academic Advising and Transfer Services, what can a student expect when he or she comes in?
Well, the student can expect, if they are planning to go to school here in the state of Maryland, they can expect that we will do an instant training on the articulation system called ARTSYS. We do workshops individually. They don't have to make appointments. Anytime they walk in, we'll sit down and show them how to use ARTSYS. And ARTSYS stands for Articulation System. Articulation actually means the courses that you can take at Prince George's that are going to transfer to a four-year school, or programs that you take at Prince George's that will also transfer to four-year schools. So ARTSYS tells the student every single course that they can take that the four-year school will accept. Consequently, there's no worry about taking courses, wasting money, things that won't transfer.
That's great. So Adrienne,
yes, ma'am.
You plan on transferring, we know that. So tell us where and how that process of articulation has worked for you.
I applied to University of Maryland and Georgetown University, their School of Continuing Studies there. And I've been accepted to both institutions, actually from this institution, after completing my 2-year degree here. The ARTSYS system was very helpful to me because I was able to choose 2 courses that you offer here they're very hard to find, but they offer that directly transfer as upper division credit to the Georgetown University. So it was very beneficial in that regard.
So what do you think for you the advantage is for completing your degree before you transfer?
Cost. It really saved a lot of money that I would have had to pay out at a 4-year institution for those 2 years. So the costs here were very, very reasonable. The education is quality education. It's very good. They have good teachers here. So that was probably the biggest benefit.
And then I know that you're transferring sort of out of state as we talk about Georgetown. But Mrs. Alford, why don't you talk a little bit to us about what an advantage is for completing your degree before transferring, particularly if we're talking about moving into the University System of Maryland?
Mm-hmm. Well, there are several reasons I think students should complete their degree here. I think that here, if they complete their credits here, the students will be able to share that milestone with their families. The commencement sometimes is very important. They don't realize how important it is, but it is. And so I think that's something they need to look at. And today when I went to the meeting, they also said that when students transfer before they get the degree to University of Maryland system schools, that they graduate at a lower rate than the students who actually complete the degrees at the community college. That probably has something to do with maturity. The longer you stay here, the more you're going to learn how to study. You're going to learn how to be a successful student because we teach you that.
Yes.
And so when they get ready to go to that 4-year school, they're going to do fine because they have those 2 years under their belt that we've given them, and we don't have to be afraid about them at all. They're going to be successful just the way I know that Adrian is.
And that seems like that's what I'm hearing too. So Adrian, we know that in 2 years, we'll be watching you walk across the stage at Georgetown University. Absolutely. And I certainly want to thank you, Mrs. Alford, and you, Adrian, for joining us. Envision success, take the journey, complete your degree. Thanks for watching Around Prince George's. Hi, I'm Dr. Charlene Dukes, the president of Prince George's Community College, and we're here tonight, Thursday, May 22nd, 2014, at the Showplace Arena in Upper Marlboro, getting ready to celebrate the graduation of more than 1,000 students from Prince George's Community College. And while I'm here, I'd like to give a shout out to a few of our students. She sang the national anthem when President Barack Obama visited our campus earlier this year. And then we'll go to Christopher Wolf. Christopher is a computer science major transferring to the University of Maryland, College Park, as a member of the Maryland Transfer Advantage Program, and he also was a member of Phi Theta Kappa. And then we will welcome tonight our commencement speaker, Dr. Kevin Maxwell, the Chief Executive Officer of the Prince George's County Public Schools. And what's so special about Dr. Maxwell is that he began his higher education journey at Prince George's Community College. Congratulations to all of our graduates, Prince George's Community College.